Hello guys, so NewJeans declared hiatus at ComplexCon in Hong Kong after performing their new song. There were multiple articles being written about it, so we're gonna talk about that. And in the Korean version of this video, I went over people's comments written on Reddit community, K-pop Uncensored. I might go over these in this video too, but I will go over Korean comments to provide you a sense of the GP, general public's opinions right now on this current issue. All right, so let's start with this article. NewJeans declares hiatus at ComplexCon, refuses to perform under group name. Despite a court ruling that prohibits them from carrying out independent entertainment activities, NewJeans has sparked controversy by performing a new song under an unapproved group name and announcing a temporary suspension of their activities. Their label, ADOR, immediately issued a statement calling the move unilateral. And yes, we will go over the ADOR statement as well. It's super brief though. On March 23rd at 7:30 p.m. local time, NewJeans performed at ComplexCon held at Asia World Expo in Hong Kong using the name NJZ. They also sold merchandise branded with the NJZ logo. And yes, that is true. And in fact, one of NewJeans' fan journalists named Lee Jung-guk from Hangyeole went over all the way to Hong Kong to do his reporting and write articles on it. And he says that there were lots of people waiting in line to buy their goods under the name NJZ. So there you go. There's proof for that. Also, this person, journalist, is known for being pro NewJeans and Minijin. That we could say, okay, that makes sense. You could be a fan of someone while writing articles about them. But I remember this particular journalist because he wrote an exclusive article about, eyelids copying NewJeans. Because the evidence that NewJeans side presented during the court hearing about how their templates, project plan templates look similar. And they took a step further and they photoshopped this template so that it looks like they're exactly matched like this. You remember this video that I talked about, where I talked about this issue, right, last year. So I remember this person. But anyways, he has already written 3 articles on their performance in Hong Kong. Back to this article. They also sold merchandise branded with the NJZ logo. NJZ is a name that members began using last November after they unilaterally declared the termination of their exclusive contracts with ADOR. In response, ADOR filed an injunction with the court to ban any commercial activity under the NJZ name without the company's consent. On March 21st, the court ruled entirely in ADOR's favor. Just 2 days later, NewJeans took actions that directly contradicted that court order. During the performance, the members introduced themselves individually by name and avoided directly mentioning a group name. And yes, they neither mentioned NewJeans nor NJZ. Interestingly. However, the background screen prominently featured NJZ. Yes. And the event organizers also used a NJZ name multiple times in promotional materials and lineup announcements. Immediately after their new song performance, the members said, "This might be our last performance for a while," adding, "We respect the court's decision and have decided to take a temporary break." With this, they clearly expressed their refusal to resume activities under the name NewJeans affiliated with ADOR and stated they would wait until the legal dispute is resolved. This wasn't an easy decision, but it's something we felt we needed to do for ourselves. Only by doing this can we come back stronger, they said tearfully. Thank you for all the love and support. We will keep moving forward. According to multiple inside industry sources, the group's hiatus announcement was not shared in advance with ADOR. Unaware of this plan, ADOR sent staff members to the Hong Kong venue to assist in their capacity as NewJeans' official label. The company also notified event organizers that this performance is under the jurisdiction of ADOR as NewJeans' official label, not NJZ, and attempted to get it in contact with the members, but reportedly did not succeed. So there's something new. They sent their staff, ADOR staff, but they weren't even able to meet NewJeans members. On the 24th, ADOR released a statement expressing disappointment, saying, "We deeply regret that a performance was carried out under a different name despite the court ruling, and that a unilateral decision to suspend activities was announced. We remain committed to supporting NewJeans based on the valid exclusive contract and hope to meet with the artist soon to discuss the future." Some people in the industry speculate that this decision may have been a response to the backlash sparked by an international media interview released just before the performance. So this decision by NewJeans. On March 22nd, the group appeared in Time magazine expressing disappointment with the court ruling and making critical remarks like, "This is the reality of Korea and it feels like Korea wants to make us into revolutionaries." The interview led to intense backlash online, with comments accusing the group of disrespecting the K-pop industry as a whole and acting as if they were above the law. And if you're curious how mad Korean people are, go check out my latest video on this issue in Korean. I think there are over, the view count itself is over 100,000, and it has received the most amount of comments there. From a legal perspective, experts say this type of unilateral action could hurt NewJeans in their ongoing contract dispute. Attorney Jang Hee-jin of a certain law firm said, even if NewJeans is planning to appeal, the injunction is currently legally effective. Ignoring it could lead to an increase in the scope and amount of damages and penalties in the main lawsuit. They also added, although it's unlikely ADOR will file immediately, the fact that the group proceeded with the performance and sold NJZ branded merchandise could give the company grounds to apply for indirect compulsory enforcement based on the number of days legal obligations were violated. So there you go. And let me read some comments for you. They're acting like this because they have no fear of the law. If NewJeans keeps creating grounds for a contract breach, ADOR can terminate the contract at any time, citing the group's fault. Combine that with astronomical penalty fees and unauthorized trademark usage, and they might end up with debt they can never repay, possibly even checking the temperature of the so that's violent. So checking the temperature of the Han River means so there are some people in Korea, well, it's an expression for committing suicide, right? Falling into Han River. Why? Because some people, fall into financial debt so much that they don't know, they have no other choices from their perspective. And like every year, Korea is known for a country with the highest suicide rates among the OECD countries. So what this person is saying that the debt will be so much that NewJeans will have no other choice to make, but except to make some unfortunate decisions. But that's too violent. Sorry if that offended you. Seems like the foreign members have no intention of returning to Korea anyway, and maybe the others feel the same. They're still young, but they really need to learn to respect the law. A contract is a promise that comes with responsibility. I'm sure they learned the importance of promises back in elementary school. It's just sad. They think they're invincible, even the law doesn't matter to them. Are they just stupid? Looks like this is going to be 50-50. So, as I have told you, ever since they have angered the general public by saying that Korea is making them revolutionaries, I told you, once the GP turns nasty in Korea or turns against you, they write nasty comments. And most of the people who have followed this case have written comments to objectively criticize them on legal basis. But the GP doesn't care about that. they respond emotionally and they write comments that could sound horrible, which is why this whole situation is turning really bad from my standpoint. But it seems like NewJeans members and their fandom don't care. In fact, they might as well become more and more stronger in terms of their unity. All right, let's read one more article to show you how critical the media is becoming towards NewJeans. This is from YTN. NewJeans, just one step away from revolutionaries to legal slippery eels. 법꾸라지, legal slippery eels means someone who try to evade laws or do not care about laws. The conflict between NewJeans and ADOR shows no signs of slowing down. At this point, someone needs to schedule a proper intervention camp, as if the two sides are in desperate need of a divorce counseling retreat. Funny. On the surface, NewJeans' declaration of a temporary hiatus seemed like a respectful nod to the court's decision, but in reality, it functioned more as a symbolic severance, cutting off communication channels with ADOR and shutting down any possibility of returning to the label. To ADOR, who had consistently called for a peaceful dialogue, this move may as well have been a declaration of no contact. Despite the court's injunction, NewJeans went ahead with their Hong Kong ComplexCon performance and unveiled a new song under the name NJZ. In the end, they closed the show with the surprise announcement of a hiatus, essentially signaling, if you won't let us go our way, we'll throw ourselves on the floor. Public opinion has been growing increasingly critical, from the way they unilaterally tried to terminate their exclusive contracts to their attitude toward the court's ruling. Once hailed as K-pop's mega rookie, NewJeans now faces the risk of being branded as the first ever legal loophole idol group. At the very least, it's time to reopen a dialogue table with ADOR. A shattered vase won't return to its original form, even if you glue the pieces back together. But even from a business standpoint, it's far more reasonable to clarify both parties' positions and resolve remaining issues before parting ways. This isn't something that can or should end with the high school style, "we're not friends anymore." In fact, even high schoolers wouldn't handle it this immaturely. And then, comments? Mbappe is a very famous, super famous French soccer player, right? Mbappe went off on PSG when he was leaving. He blasted the club, skipped events, caused all sorts of drama, but he still honored his full contract. But these girls want to leave just because someone supposedly disrespected them. They followed the rules when they were rookies, but now that they have blown up, they want to do whatever they want. Why even sign a contract in the first place? Revolutionaries? What a joke. These girls are seriously overestimating themselves. Revolutionaries? Please, this is a clear and blatant breach of contract. They're just immature, nothing more, nothing less. They already got their full payouts and now they pulled this? Let's be honest, if they debuted under a small agency, would they even be where they are? They fully benefited from HYBE's support and the image boost from BTS, making it easier to get good songs and solid marketing. And now this? Unbelievable. So yeah, people are mad. No. One more. NewJeans backed into corner. Is there truly no way out? So let's see what this journalist from NewsN said. NewJeans' interview with Time appears to have been aimed at expressing disappointment over the court's recent injunction ruling and demonstrating unity among the members. In the interview, they said, "We were disappointed about the court's decision. We don't expect the K-pop industry to change overnight. Compared to everything we have been through, this is just another step in our journey." This contradicted what they had just said just a day earlier in front of the Seoul District Court, respect the court's decision. This reversal has sparked criticism that the group is acting with double standards, enjoying the benefits of the K-pop system when things are going well, but turning around to attack it when they face internal conflict. Since February, the group has also relied heavily on foreign media like CNN as a communication channel, which has drawn further backlash. While it's understandable to seek out international media to avoid the influence of major domestic players like HYBE, turning that into a platform for criticizing K-pop as a whole risks alienating the Korean public. Playing the global media game works best in oppressive environments like during military regimes, not in today's open media landscape. So, what's next for NewJeans? Given the court sided with ADOR in the initial injunction, the road ahead looks rocky rather than smooth. Until the first ruling in the main lawsuit is delivered, their independent activities are effectively on hold. As a result, it's likely the group will double down on public sentiment and messaging rather than legal maneuvering. After all, if the court unilaterally sides with ADOR, they will need to have built up a strong narrative of values and human rights to maintain public support. This is likely why they have been repeatedly invoking such themes. ADOR, for its part, has continued to signal that it's willing to help wherever needed, trying not to escalate the situation. On the surface, this may look mature, but internally, the company is likely deeply frustrated. It's been reported that ADOR executives sent to Hong Kong for the ComplexCon performance couldn't even meet with the members. Whether NewJeans will continue to push forward under the NJZ name remains a point of interest. Following the court's decision, any revenue they earn under the NJZ name could count as damages owed to ADOR. While the power struggle continues for now, there's still the possibility that a few months from now, we'll see headlines like ADOR and NewJeans reach surprise settlement. If that's to happen, ADOR would probably have to present a grand welcome back gesture to the group, but with HYBE shareholders watching closely, it remains to be seen how ADOR could pull that off. Yeah, I was saying in the Korean version that if NewJeans and their parents and their lawyers and Minijin did not say things and make moves to hurt other groups and other fandoms, then I'll be like, okay, I guess reaching a settlement could be an option, but they have done so much to hurt others. So at this point, I don't know what to say. I personally believe that I cannot listen to their music anymore and watch their performance anymore. And honestly speaking, I don't think they will return to ADOR because that means severing ties with Minijin, and that doesn't seem to be an option. But maybe I should make a separate video about this. If they hold an emergency press conference and make sincere remarks about how they would love to apologize to everyone they have hurt and how they have completely cut ties with Minijin, and how they, if they reveal everything that we don't even know yet, like how Minijin has gaslighted them and groomed them, then maybe situations might be different. But unless that happens, yeah, I'll be, you know what, I'll stop saying right now. But this is an interesting remark. That option, I don't think shareholders would like to think about that option, which is why this journalist said, with HYBE shareholders watching closely, it remains to be seen how ADOR could pull that off. Legal experts generally agree that injunction rulings are difficult to overturn. So for now, any brands or concert organizers looking to work with NJZ will face unavoidable limitations. In a way, it's a happy dilemma for those involved. There's still money to be made, but mishandling the situation could mean those profits end up going elsewhere. I don't agree with the phrase happy dilemma here. A prolonged standoff would ultimately hurt both sides, with tensions escalating to the point where people are accusing one another of betrayal over hurt feelings. The rationale for the conflict is wearing thin, and in that case, there's no guarantee the fan base will remain solid. Yeah, but NewJeans is doing what they can to make the fan base unite stronger. So let's briefly check out what they said after the performance at the ComplexCon. So they brought letters that they read to the audience. So here we go. Heading said, so Each member took turns reading a letter they had personally prepared. Minji, Haerin, and Hein spoke in Korean, while Hani and Daniel spoke in English. Haerin said, "It weighs heavily on my heart to be delivering this kind of news. In fact, today's stage may be our last for a while. We have decided to temporarily pause all activities out of respect for the court's decision. It wasn't an easy decision, but it's something we believe is necessary for us right now." Minji continued, "Honestly, no one understands better than we do how difficult the path we have chosen will be. So even as we accept the court's decision, we're speaking up to protect the values we believe in and to protect each other. We don't regret making that choice. None of us do." Protecting values or protecting this woman. Haynes said, "Some people might think it would have been better if he just stayed quiet and endured it." So, funny thing, in the Korean version that I made, I kind of got so frustrated that I was kind of burst my emotions when I read that part. Like, endure it. I was like, endure what? All right, let me keep reading. "But for us, this is about protecting ourselves, and we believe that's the only way we can become stronger and come back again. That's why we don't regret this decision at all." Kane also shared, "Mentally, it's been really exhausting and hard, but even through all of that, there were so many things we wanted to show bunnies and so many fun ideas we wanted to do together." At that point, she began to cry and continued, "Coming to Hong Kong and receiving so much love and support at ComplexCon, it means so much." She emphasized, "We're going to keep going forward until the end." Minji said, "We respect the court's decision. For now, we're going to take a step back, take a breath, and gather ourselves. After that, we'll come back stronger and move forward. I really hope everyone understands that this isn't the end. We will return, and when we do, I want to meet you all again with bright smiles on our faces." Minji then addressed their fans, saying, "We're so thankful. We really love you. All 5 of us are always thinking of Bunny, so please stay healthy, eat well, and get plenty of sleep." On stage, the members were seen hugging each other tightly, visibly emotional and tearful. And yeah, on X, those who remain as fans are saying things like, "We will support you forever," and let's go over to the actual video. I'm not gonna play this. I was originally thought about making a reaction video to their new song. I have listened to it, I have watched it, but I decided not to make a video about it because I didn't think I was able to make anything positive, and I was worried that the comment section would be so nasty. But 2 observations that I made is that, one, the sound is completely different from their earlier music, right? And it's kind of ironic because I guess this new style is in relation to the comment that they made during a Times interview, how they are turning into revolutionaries. But it's ironic because the earlier music, their original music style, was what NewJeans intended for. And now, like, leaving that style and turning into something different is called revolutionary. So that's super ironic because I'm pretty sure NewJeans is behind this new style of theirs too. But of course, under this video, the comments are, mostly praising these girls. Also, second observation that I made was that aside from, forget about the quality of the performance, but it seemed like they were trying hard. And probably because this could be their last performance ever. Who knows? So it showed that they have prepared. Although, in terms of quality, let's read over people's comments, non-fans comments. So here's a Korean online community. I'm not gonna read the comments, so here's their performance, and I'm not gonna play everything. So yeah, it kind of sounds like that. Go watch it if you like to watch it. But people say, "I don't know what to say. I think I've seen that choreography from somewhere. It makes me speechless." And yeah, overall negative. Now let's briefly go over to Reddit community. NJZ performed their new song earlier at ComplexCon, and there's a reason why I showed like international fans or listeners' comments to the Korean audience. It's because based on my observations, since last year, especially before and after NewJeans' first press conference. International fans made objective observations, and many of them emotion-free, right? So many of the comments that the international fans write are like reason-based. So, covering them in my video will be kind of informative for the domestic audience, Korean audience, I thought. So people said, no way they bullied the hell out of Eyelid for plagiarizing them, only to end up making a song with their endless artistic freedom to sound like plagiarizing every other generic K-pop song. It's pretty mid. There's nothing really distinct about it. Sing talking is a letdown for me. Not much melodic structuring or phrasing. If 250 worked on this or Frank, I don't really hear their sound. It's like the complete opposite of their previous music. So I guess it's like a rebellion to their roots. Yeah, so what I'm saying is that this kind of ironic because their roots themselves were designed by NewJeans, so to say. I wish they would have went the Ditto route. They were made for the dreamy vocals. Sounds like super shy to me. NJZ plagiarized NewJeans. Jokes on them, I guess. They use the same Powerpuff Girls beat, from what I can tell. I wish the beat had differed or let up some parts through. I think it could have given the song some more depth. They did that in Super Shy. Ditto is so my favorite them. That's what I'm saying. The melody is so generic for their usual production team, which is why I'm curious if they have worked on it. And if not, was that just a choice or because NJZ didn't choose them, or either legal reasons or because Frank and 250 aren't working with them outside of ADOR for whatever reason? Again, I'd just be curious because I actually think those producers can do way better than this generic beat. Yeah. It's not mid, it's straight up bad. God, this is embarrassing and messy. The choreo is terrible, no synchronization, mid vocals, talk singing, the things they were actually good at are gone. Okay, that's what people thought. What about people's response to them announcing that they will temporarily suspend all activities? Voluntary going on hiatus after making such a big fuss about HYBE forcing them into one. They don't like the outcome of the court case and think they're sticking it to ADOR, as they always do. When they said they respected the court's decision, but felt they didn't take their personal feelings into account, I'd literally be beyond mortified. Wow, breaking an injunction ruling, that can't be good. Plus, going on hiatus can just allow ADOR to build a case for lost earnings and breach of contract. ADOR has been playing this smart so far. I always knew ADOR was biding their time and every single thing NJ did was going to be used as evidence against them. I almost feel bad they never realized this. Seems like they burst into tears at every public appearance. But if the CEO of ADOR cries, it is insincere and uncomfortable, right? I'm seriously wondering about their legal counsel and defense team. Why would they mislead the girls into thinking they will win with no sufficient evidence? They are back to square one now, doing exactly as they should have from the very beginning. May this situation be a wake-up call to them and their mothers that MHA doesn't have their best interests at heart. I've seen two suggestions about their lawyers. Either they're trying to bait ADOR into something, or the girls are insisting on doing things a certain way. When clients tell lawyers what to do, it generally goes badly, or maybe they hire the intern. So I was talking to a lawyer that I got to know personally, and he said a similar thing. Sometimes there's a case where clients are so insistent on what to do that lawyers have no choice but to follow their request. So that may be the case with them, and especially NewJeans. Clients don't always follow legal advice, or the lawyers fleecing out of them. It's gotta be one of those two, yeah. Not just back to square one, they've actively moved themselves into negative squares. Wow. Lawyers get paid by the hour. Yeah, so a lot of people say that the biggest winners out of this case is the lawyers, Kim and-jang and Sejong, Shin and Kim. But personally though, like my impression on Shin and Kim, Sejong, has been going quite bad, especially the way they handle, the types of evidence that they presented during the hearing, the ones that targeted Eyelids and Seraphim and like belief staff member even. Should I read this? All right, briefly. out of respect for the court's decision. Not out of respect, but because you were forced to. It's not even the court forced them to halt activities. They just have to do so under their contracts, but are refusing to honor them still, after they disrespectfully violated that in the first 24 hours. If they introduced themselves as NJZ and not NewJeans plus a new song wasn't under ADOR, then they certainly violated the injunction. More like they don't want to perform under ADOR/HYBE, so they won't do anything at all. So yeah, it seems like people are seriously critical of the whole situation and the decision they have made, but I'm aware of the fact that most of the international fans and listeners, casual fans or not, have been critical of Minijin and NewJeans after they proved that they are one and the same with Minijin in their stance against HYBE and ADOR. But interestingly enough, recently, especially after their Times interview, even the Korean media and the Korean GP have turned against them very critically and sometimes aggressively. When it comes to journalists, I think NewJeans have kind of frustrated them, especially during their emergency press conference where they stated that they, terminated their contracts because at the end of the Q&A session, Minji said something very offensive, could be offensive, mildly offensive, like super sassy, saying something like, "Did you understand what I just said?" But if you think about it, the journalists, it was evening, nighttime, right? So they were working over hours. And if I were one of the journalists, I would be like very frustrated, to say the least. But yeah, that's the current stance. It is getting unfortunate and regrettable, to say the least. And we will continue to monitor the situation. Okay? Leave your comments while being respectful, positive, and classy. I know you guys are good at making constructive comments and feedback. All right? Peace and love. Bye-bye.